Amen, amen. How many people are excited to be here tonight? Won't you make some noise for the Lord? Hey, we're excited that you're here tonight. I'm going to sing a couple quick songs, and as I do, we'll open up just for a couple minutes with a couple songs. We'll hand it over to Pastor John and all the candidates tonight. But before we do that, I just want to open up our hearts and draw close to the Lord. So if you will, I'm going to play a couple quick songs. As I do, won't you worship, sing with me, and we'll bless the Lord tonight. Amen. For thou, O Lord, art high above all the earth, and thou art exalted far above, O God. One of you know those words, help me say. Thou, O Lord, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted far above, O God. Come on, help me say. And I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, oh, 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 Lord. And I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, and I exalt thee, oh, 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 Lord. Oh, God bless America, the land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her, and through the night with the light from above. Come on. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. My home, sweet home. Come on, won't you make some noise for the Lord tonight?
Awesome. Hey, listen, at this time, if our candidates for the Arkansas side can go ahead and come up right over here by the cross here in just a moment, you will get started. But I want us all to stand back on our feet, and let's turn towards the flag. Let's put our hand over our heart, and let's pledge our allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you'll turn this way to the Christian flag, the words should be on the screen, but let's pledge our allegiance to Christ. I pledge allegiance to the Christian flag. Savior, whose kingdom stands. One Savior, crucified, risen and coming again, with life and liberty for all who believe. Amen. Listen, you may be seated.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening to the rest of you as well. My name is John Miller. I'm the lead pastor here at the church, and we just want to welcome all of you today. I am often asked why a church should be involved in civil government. And my answer is a very simple answer, and it's this: it is the way America was founded. And let me say that again. It's the way America was founded. And I want to read a quote to you from Benjamin Franklin. And I want us to go back several hundred years in history. And I want you to imagine the Revolutionary War is over. By the grace of God, our nation won. But yet we still had 13 independent colonies, and each were vying for their own rights and their own perspectives. And it was an attempt in the Constitutional Convention to draw the nation together and have a constitution that governed us as people in the United States of America. And they had met one time to do it, and they just flopped. They couldn't get along. And then on the second go-round, Benjamin Franklin stands up, and he's addressing George Washington. And I want you to listen to these words, and I want you to listen to the Christian undertones, the spiritual, the religious undertones in what he had to say. Benjamin Franklin said, "Groping as it were in the dark to find political truth, how has it happened, sir?" And now he's addressing Washington. "How has it happened that we have not once thought of humbly applying to the Father of lights?" This was one reference to God, the Father of lights, to illuminate our understandings. In the beginning of the contest with Great Britain, we had daily prayer in this room for divine protection. Now, I want you to imagine, these were not, quote, elected officials as we would understand today, but these were leaders of the American populace at the time. And according to Franklin, every day they met together and they would pray together that God would give them victory. Well, he said, our prayers, sir, were heard and they were graciously answered. And have we now forgotten that powerful friend? So now he turns from looking back at what happened and what God did in the place of prayer, and he asked Mr. Washington and he asked the other delegates that are there, have we forgotten God? Obviously, he's referring to the fact that we've not prayed. And then he said, I've lived, sir, a long time, and the longer I live, the more convincing proofs I see of this truth, that God governs in the affairs of men. And if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can arise without his aid? And that's a direct quote from Psalm 127, the Old Testament, verse 1. He says, we have been assured, sir, in the sacred writings, the Bible, that except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. I also believe that without his concurring aid, we shall succeed in this political building no better than the builders of Babel. In other words, we are doomed to fail without the help of God. And that marked a turning point. I believe I'm correct that it was some 3 weeks later that they had arrived at not only arrived at our Constitution, which is the longest lasting constitutional republic in the history of the world. Not only had they given us a constitution, but they also, Franklin also recommended that they have chaplains, one for the Senate, one for the House, and they would rotate through the ministers in the community. So the concept of the false idea of separation of church and state is in our founding documents. It's not. It was written in a letter by Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist Association. And these Baptists were concerned. Now, mind you, they just came from the State Church of England, and they didn't want a state church, and they were concerned that the state might establish its own state church. And he wrote this letter to them and saying that there was an impenetrable wall of separation that would not protect the state from the church, but vice versa, would protect the church from the state. And that was Jefferson's intent, and there's no real historical reference to it until 1878 when the Supreme Court drew out that phrase, and it gave the secular mind an opportunity to be able to say, well, there is no God. The religious people are supposed to stay in the church house. And sadly, that's what's gotten us in the mess we're in today. And as we think about Franklin's comments representative of our founding fathers, it was three things: God, prayer, and the Bible that shaped our founding and arguably made us the greatest nation in the history of the world. We are certainly not perfect now, nor were we perfect then, but yet God has shown great favor on the history of America. And that's why I suggest to you that we need both civic leaders and public servants who have the courage to practice biblical principles in civil government. This is why I encourage people to vote biblical values. I don't stand before you as a libertarian, Republican, or Democrat. I am a Christian, and if you want to put me in a box, call me a Christocrat. But I do believe that it's the responsibility of the pulpit, and we encourage people to vote biblical values. I do my best to teach people issues from a biblical perspective and entrust them that they have the good sense to vote biblical values, and that's why we're hosting this event today. Let me mention this too, if you'd like a little more information about the founding of our nation. I've written a real short book. It's actually the product of 7 years of sermon research, and it's on all the tables as you exit the sanctuary in that little small vestibule. It's free. Take one, give it to your friend, give it to somebody who doesn't believe it, but it might certainly be helpful. Now, you should see QR codes. I see them, they're here. If you don't know what that is, you're going to have to find a teenager and ask them. But basically, with your phone, you can take a picture of that thing, and we sent out a questionnaire to all the candidates. There's 26 from Arkansas and Texas, and we sent out a questionnaire to them, and that QR code would get you to all their answers. But if you can't find a teenager, there are some written answers on one of the tables out in the lobby there, and if you can't find them, we'll make sure we get them for you. Let's pray. Father, today we do welcome your presence in our midst. We ask today that you would bless each one that will speak with, Lord, clarity of mind and heart, that their positions will be made true, Lord, to their convictions. And we ask you, Lord, to give us godly men and women, Lord, to lead this nation into the future. Bless all the events of the evening, and we commit it to Christ in Jesus' name. Everybody said? God bless you. Well, listen, let me introduce to you now our moderator, Joanne Fleming. Joanne, if you'll make your way to the stage. Joanne is the Executive Director of Grassroots America, We the People. It's the largest all-volunteer-led constitutional conservative citizen action organization in the state of Texas. So this is a big one. They endeavor to unite, educate, and empower the citizens to defeat, let's just call it, the junk in the world that undermines the concept of the Bible, biblical view of family, and principles of liberty. She served as an appointee in 23 different local government task forces and work groups. So she's not a novice to this. She's going to be the moderator. So if something goes wrong, you blame her because I'm the good guy. How about that? Where's Joanne? Shazam.
Okay, it's here now. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor, so much. Yes, all the mess-ups are going to be mine tonight. But thank y'all so much for inviting me here. This is probably about the third time I've been to Church on the Rock, and it's always a welcoming place. So let's go over the rules. I want y'all to know that this is more than a candidate forum. This is a public job interview. A public job interview. Okay, so because these people who are running for office want the job. They said they wanted the job when they filed for the office. So it is a reasonable expectation for all of you to interview them to see if they're fit for the job, right? And if you decide they are fit for the job, then it is a reasonable expectation that you people, as free, loving Arkansans and Texans, would hold them accountable. There is nothing wrong with that. Our founders gave up everything for our right to give consent or dissent of the governed. So here we go with the rules. The candidates have been briefed prior to the start. Polite applause is acceptable, but please exercise restraint. With the limited time available, please limit your passion for any particular candidate. This event is an introduction to these candidates. If you have a question that was not asked, please go see the candidate in the foyer after the forum. We have provided a voter guide to provide greater insight into each of these candidates. Time will be kept and posted on the screens. The moderator here is charged with maintaining the time limits, and I can do that. So let me explain to you how this works. If your time is up, you may finish a sentence, but you may not start a paragraph and certainly not a chapter. We have asked the candidates to refrain from standing to answer questions. The order of the first question asked was determined beforehand. Actually, it is based on who drew the closing statement, and I'm going to reverse that for the opening statement. Each question asked to a candidate will be given 75 seconds to respond. After the candidate has spoken and addressed the question, their opponent will have 45 seconds for a rebuttal. At the end of the questions, each candidate will have 1 minute for final remarks. Order of closing statements was chosen by lot. So if the first round of candidates would take the stage, please. And the non-debate candidates are going to introduce themselves first. Okay, so you Justice of the Peace candidates and the Texarkana School Board candidates, it's your turn to make your remarks.
So, can you hear me there?
And
better?
watch your time.
All right. There we go. So we only get a minute. My opponent just decided not to attend, so we only get a minute, so I'm going to try to fit it in everything I can. I'd like to start by saying thank you to Pastor John. Thank you for Miss Ritchie, everybody else that's involved in coordinating this. Is that better? I want to thank Pastor John, Miss Ritchie, everybody else for helping coordinate this event again. My name is Michael Rayburn. I live in Genoa on the Arkansas side. I'm running for District 8 JP. Just a little bit about myself. I spent 20 years in the Navy, deployed 4 times overseas, retired as a cryptologist at the National Security Agency up in Maryland back in 2018. I've got a master's degree in business from Texas A&M. I'm a former financial counselor. I spent about 6 years in the Navy doing that kind of work on the side. I'm also in the pack leaders for the Boy Scouts over in Genoa. We restarted that troop that had died several years ago. Been doing that for about 2 years now. I'm also a member of the Church on the Rocks Widows Group with a couple other members here. I'm a former election commissioner for Miller County. I'm also a 2-time state delegate for Miller County. And again, I'm a former JP for Miller County. I own a vending machine business in Texarkana. I also own OxyFresh Carpet Cleaning. You may have heard of that. In the past 5 years, we've grown from starting in Texarkana to opening up, buying 11 different locations. And if you know anybody in Miller County, I'd appreciate your vote.
Hi, my name is Amy Leslie, and I currently serve on the Texarkana, Arkansas School District Board of Directors. I have been in education for 16 years and recently left that to work for the church. I have 10 years of public education in the general ed classroom, elementary, and then I have 6 years of special education with my master's degree in special ed. We've spent the last 3 years trying to improve our school district, but we still have a lot of work to do. And so I just would like you to vote for me. I believe that every child has the right to a successful education, and when I mean every child. So we work hard to improve. The special ed department specifically is one that I'm working on. We are trying to make adjustments to salary schedules and to calendars to do what's best for all of the children in our district. So if you have any questions and would like to talk to me, I'll be at my table. Thank you. I appreciate your vote.
Hi, my name is Corey Mobbs. I'm running for TASD School Board Zone 1. I was appointed in 2024 after a school board member left. I'm a proud 2004 graduate of Arkansas High, so go Razorbacks. And also have an amazing miracle child that I was not supposed to be given, who also he attends TASD. He will be entering the middle school next year, which we are all excited about. And I also have 2 step-grandchildren that also attend TASD, one at the middle school and one at the high school. So I definitely have a vested interest in all of our babies, all of our children of TASD. I'm an occupational therapist by trade and have been that for 18 years. And I believe that every child has the ability to grow and the ability to learn. High school is just the beginning. TASD is just the beginning. So I pray that if it be God's will, that I will be elected and I can be a mama bear for all the TASD students.
All right. Hi, everyone. How are you? Good, good. Nice to see all your faces and to have your support tonight. My name is Whitney Allen. I am running for school board also for District 4. I have about 13 years of experience of education behind me. It goes between Louisiana and Texas. And I know you guys might be like, well, why is she running for Arkansas School Board when she's worked on Texas? Well, that's what paid the bills at the time. So that's just what it was. But I feel like all that experience, I have a master's degree in education or interdisciplinary studies with a focus in education. I'm very data-driven. I've done a lot of research. I have a psychology background. I have a lot of curriculum and experience, building experience. I have a lot of things behind my belt. I've been a parent, I've been a teacher, and I've worked in admin positions across the districts that I've worked in. I've worked in leadership positions. I've kind of know my way around a school at this point. I've kind of been somewhere everywhere, from the bottom all the way to the top. And so I would like to use that expertise to make Arkansas better. Thank you, and vote for me.
Thank you, candidates. Now before you, you have the Arkansas candidates for Secretary of State. We have Senator Kim Hammer and Brian Norris. So, gentlemen, we're about to start. I've got 3 questions for you. So, first we've got to have opening statements. So I think, Mr. Norris, you go first for your opening statement. Mr. Norris, you know who you are.
I do. I haven't forgot. I'm not supposed to stand up either. But when we drew, I was trying to follow. Hey, look, I'm a retired soldier. I like to follow the rules when they put them out, right? Well, thanks so much for putting this together, Church of the Rock. It's absolutely fantastic. People from Arkansas, I love you. People from Texas, you almost made it. You just had to go a few more miles to the east. Got close. My name is Brian Norris, just like Chuck, no relation. Good luck for getting that. Don't do it when you go to the polls. I'm a native Arkansan, born and raised, born to a single mom, poor in the Delta, but I won the lottery by being born in this country. And I want to give something back to it. And when my nation needed me throughout its longest war in its entire history, I went and met the need. I just walked into the recruiting station and said, where do you need me? Recruiters dream. And every day that I was out there doing the duty on behalf of the people of Arkansas, I didn't care if you were Republican, Democrat, or Independent. I went and did the duties to protect you and serve you because you are my countrymen. And my state is in, we got a lot of work to do in my state. And I think I can bring that. I got my bachelor's in business management. I got my master's in transformational leadership. And I'm going to bring all the skills that I took from the United States Army and my education and bring it to that table.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Kim Hammer. I'm a state senator. I served 8 years in the House of Representatives, served 8 years in the Senate. I'll be termed out at the end of this year. I'd like to take my experience over to the Secretary of State's office, working with the delegates that we have now that I've worked with, developed a long relationship with, including our governor who will be reelected to the state of Arkansas, that has led us to be one of the #1 destination states in the nation. I want to say also that when people ask, well, why are you running for the Secretary of State? And sitting in this environment, I want to preface it by saying that I've been in the ministry for 47 years. I've pastored for 47 years. And truly, this is my heart desire. I'd like to continue to serve as your Secretary of State. And what we are doing is we're running to find out God's will. Because the reality is God already knows all of us that have been elected to office. He builds kingdoms up. He takes them down. He puts people in office. He takes them out. My desire is to run to see if I can continue to serve as a public servant in the Secretary of State's office and continue to use the expertise and my history to be able to help us make sure we got safe and secure elections.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Senator Hammer, you will answer this question first, and then Mr. Norris. Describe your worldview, the lens through which you view the world, your responsibilities, and how you set your priorities.
At the end of the day, no matter who elects me, I got to stand before God and answer for every vote that I cast and every position that I took. If you look at my record, you're going to find that I'm very pro-life. In fact, I'm the legislator that passed the legislation that said we will have a monument on the Capitol grounds of the state of Arkansas that will be a remembrance to 250,000 babies that were aborted in Arkansas during the Roe versus Wade era. Because can you tell me where you can go and remember those babies that were aborted during a terrible chapter of our nation's history? I look at everything through the lens of the Bible because the Bible is what gives us clarity. The Bible is what gives us direction. At the end of the day, this is a nation that was blessed by God to be brought into existence. And if we don't honor God with everything that we do, regardless of what political affiliation we're with, we're all going to answer to Him. And I'd kind of like America to be around for a long time, because if we're not around, who's going to be the defender of freedom and Christian values around the nation? And who's going to stand beside Israel when Israel needs a friend like we need in today's time? So as far as my worldview, I look at it through the Bible. I look at it through the lens of the eyes of God. I'm not perfect. He is. I just try to do what He wants me to do in a perfect way. Some days I fail. Some days I succeed. But to God be the glory that I had the opportunity to be able to use my position to bring Christian values into government.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Mr. Norris, you go ahead and answer that question, and then when you finish, you guys will have 45 seconds each to rebut the other if you need to.
My worldview is I want to be the type of man that my grown children want to hang around with every day. I think that's a pretty good azimuth of if you're doing the right thing, right? And I also want to be in reality. I don't want to use talking points. When we repealed Roe v. Wade, that was a celebration day, but we didn't think through the second, third order effects. There's more babies dying in Arkansas today than there were before the repeal of Roe v. Wade, because now it's easier to get an abortion through the mail delivered to you. I'm going to be the type of Secretary of State that thinks through the second, third order effects down the road and what's actually going to impact your life and what's going to make it better. And how can we do some of those things? Well, we got to get red tape out of the way. We got to allow our small businesses to thrive. So day one, I'm going to do a Doge-style audit of everything under the purview of Secretary of State's office. And if it's not codified in law, it goes away. And I'm going to tell the state legislature, if you want to put a burden on the Arkansas taxpayer, pass a bill and be held accountable to your constituents. Don't use my office as an end run around to do the things that you want to do. We're not going to play those games. I'm going to deal in true reality. I'm going to be honest, and we're going to define success. We're going to come up with a plan for it, and we're going to drive to success. And we may fail sometimes, but that failure is just going to be one learning point upon the path to get to success.
One of the difficulties I'll have as a legislator, having served 16 years, is I want to have to remember that I'm not a legislator, I'm a Secretary of State. And in Arkansas, Secretary of State has three primary duties: oversee the elections, and one of the key areas in overseeing the elections is with regards to petitions that are initiated that we know that many times are put up for wholesale marketing to the highest bidder. And one thing that Arkansas, Texas, and every state in the union needs to be mindful of is we need to take care of business within our borders, because sometimes you might be a state that's picked off by somebody that wants to come in and influence your voters to do something only so they can get a foothold in the surrounding states. Second thing is take care of the business. And the Secretary of State needs to work in complement with the governor and also with the legislative branch and not compete against them and work together as a team player.
Thank you.
I actually agree with that 100%, but I want to take it a little bit further. Instead of just keeping out-of-state canvassers going around doing petitions, why don't we get all of the money from out of state that funds our politicians? What's more dangerous? The ones asking you to sign a petition for a ballot measure to get on the ballot, or the one that's buying off our politicians and influencing them for the next 2, 4, 6 years while they're sitting in office? So I want to create a pathway, or help influence to create a pathway to where only the people that live within that zip code for that person that's running for office can fund that candidate. So they got to listen to them instead of the big corporations that's trying to influence our body politic there in Little Rock. I'm not a fan of it. I think we can get away from it, and I got a pathway to do it. And we're going to get the lobbyists out. If they're using our floor space or our office space, taxpayer funded, it's going to go away, and we're going to put you in the seat.
Thank you. Mr. Norris, you answer this second question first. This concerns managing a large agency. What specific management experience do you have that qualifies you to run an agency of this scale? And be specific, please.
Okay. So I am a retired United States Army First Sergeant, and I held every leadership position and took every leadership school that you can, all the way from team leader to Operations Sergeant Major. At Operations Sergeant Major level, I was responsible for billions of dollars of equipment, about 1,500 personnel, and everything that entails with feed, health, billeting, training, equipment, everything underneath the sun, right? Both in garrison and in combat. So if you want to get tested on true leadership, go down range where people are shooting back at you and try to keep your cool and make good decisions. Outside of the Army, I'm now senior project manager for a Fortune 500 company. I manage projects globally. I got projects over in Europe, I got them in Asia, and I got them all across America. And thanks to President Trump's tariffs, we're actually moving some of these factories that are overseas back to our borders, employing more Americans, and I'm proud to facilitate that process and getting them moved over here. I know what it's like to work with the government, manage a baseline of dollars and scope and keep it in there and finish on time. As a Fortune 500 project manager, I have a 98% customer satisfaction score. I've managed multiple projects and hundreds of millions of dollars throughout that time, and I have every single time came in on time, under budget. And that's what I'm going to do as your Secretary of State. We will be on time every time and under budget.
Thank you. Senator Hammer.
Thank you. As far as my management experience, I would fall back on 3 areas of my life. Number one, I own a small business, and I also am the founder and board president of a 501c3 nonprofit faith-based daycare center that takes care of infants all the way up through after school and during school time. And the one thing I want to stress about those 2 areas, number one, when you're the one that they look to make the payroll, and I'm responsible for about 20 to 22 people, and that may not seem like a lot, but when you have people's lives in your hand, you have to think about how they're going to pay the bills and how you're going to deal with weather that's going to knock them out of work. It makes it personal. It's not a layered corporate approach. It's in my bedroom, it's in my house, it's in my mind, it's in my soul. And I got to think about the responsibility of taking care of people. And anytime you got the responsibility to take care of infants and other people's children, it brings an additional layer to your personal accountability and responsibility. Not only that, but also I've pastored for 47 years to the pastor in the house. One of the things that it takes a lot to do is volunteer, because churches run on volunteer. A lot of the elections, a lot of things that are going to be done in the election is going to depend on volunteers going to work at the poll site. So I've got that perspective of dealing with volunteers on a large scale over a 46-year period. And the final thing I would say is 16 years of legislative success. You check my record, you'll see that I've learned to work with people and help manage difficult bills through the process, and that's
Thank you, Senator.
Record.
So now we have, so just for the audience, so now we have the 45-second rebuttal, so take off. Go.
Okay. All right. So when you talk about having people's lives in your hand, I got some experience with that. I can proudly say one of the proudest things in my life is every deployment with everyone that I took downrange, 100% of them came home. Praise be to God for that one. So I know what it's like to make decisions where lives are actually lost in that process because some of my buddies did make the ultimate sacrifice and did not get to come home. And I don't take that lightly. And as your Secretary of State, the burden of all 3 million people of Arkansas when it comes to business and your elections falls upon my shoulders. And I won't take that lightly either. You will have secure elections. You will have a secure capital. And I will be the chief ambassador for business for the state of Arkansas, and I will go out to the world and the nation and solicit business on your behalf to give you more opportunities than you've ever had.
Thank you. Senator?
A rebuttal?
Yes.
Okay. It might seem like a little bit redundant, but again, when it comes to understanding the responsibility of the Secretary of State, we need to work in cooperation with the governor because the governor is the chief lead of the state of Arkansas, and the governor is one that's out on the forefront as far as recruiting business. Our role in the position of Secretary of State is to complement that and to use it as a platform not only to present the values that we believe in as Arkansans, especially from a Christian point of view, but also to go out and work in order to make sure that the businesses that are here do not have hurdles that are preventing them from being able to be the most successful businesses that they can be. And so with regards to the management experience, I think that stands out.
Thank you. Okay, now we're at our last question, and we'll start with Senator Hammer. This one has to do with partisanship and how you handle that. Can you cite a specific instance where you would prioritize fair administration over your own political party's interest?
I think you can look at my legislative career as far as the legislation I was able to get through, whether it was dealing with pro-life issues, whether it was dealing with election security issues, whether it was dealing with all the things that we hold as Americans and as Christians to core value. And you will find that I was able to cross over and be able to work with the other parties, or all the parties, in order to get the legislation through. However, I also want to say this, that sometimes your values and your principles, especially if you're looking at it from a Christian, are not up for negotiation. And sometimes you just have to draw a line and stand and say, this is where we are, this is what I believe, this is what I can back up from the Word of God. And there are times that you have to work in a nonpartisan way, but sometimes issues will separate you. And when those issues separate you, what it boils down to at that point is, what is your core value? And are you willing to lose, even if it means that you lose standing on the principle of God's Word and you lose standing on the principles of the values that we hold dear as Americans? And so as far as reaching across the aisle, as far as working within a nonpartisan way, yes, I've got a track record of doing that. You can check my track record. But I'll say this, the values and the principles are not up for negotiation. And if we ever begin to negotiate away those values and principles that we hold dear, then we lose our battle.
Mr. Norris.
My integrity is never for sale. In the United States Army, you don't get a choice who's going to work with you. They come from all walks of life, all over the world. And you've got to take them in, find common ground, get buy-in, and create a team that's going to go out there and maybe have to survive their worst day in life. And I was pretty good at that. And I think I can be pretty good at it. I've been pretty good at it on the civilian side as well, dealing with different cultures all over the world to achieve an end state of success. And that's what I'm going to bring to the Secretary of State's office. And despite what everybody tells you out there, the majority of the stuff as Americans, we agree on, about 90% of it. But everybody likes to throw out that 10%. I'm going to tell people to come back to the 90% and let's move the needle forward for all of us, for your side, for their side, and for our side, so that we can all achieve a little bit better quality of life than what we've been handed for the last 40 years, where we rank in bottom in the state of Arkansas in just about everything. I don't want to see that anymore. We deserve better than that. So what are we going to do to fix that? We've got to come together to where we can work at, and that 10%, it's off the table. I'm not going to deal with some of those things, but on the 90%, you bring them back to it, and let's move the needle forward. Create buy-in, create a culture of excellence, give them what success looks like, and then show them a plan of how to achieve it.
Thank you. Now the final rebuttal period.
You know, sometimes we agree and sometimes we don't. In this case, I think that Mr. Norris and I agree on this. I live by the rule of Ronald Reagan, 80-20. there's going to be 80% that you're able to agree on. But the question is not what you can agree on, it's what you're willing to sell out on the other 20%. And again, I go back to what I said a while ago, being a little redundant, but there are certain things that we will not be able to negotiate with because of where we are today as a nation. Is because things have been negotiated away that should have never been up for consideration in the first place. And at the end of the day, we need to stand on the things that we believe on and defend the things that we believe on. And if we can get people to agree with us, that's great. But that doesn't mean we leave where we are
Thank you.
to say we agree.
Absolutely, we do. I mean, we're Americans. We have a fantastic history. We are the greatest nation that this world has ever seen. But it's slipping away from us a little bit by little bit because men and women were afraid to stand up and speak truth. It is. And accountability has got to make a comeback. We've got to start holding people accountable. And one of the ways that you can do that is at the ballot box. So if you don't like the way that things are going, don't stay home because silence is consentment. When you don't vote, you're still voting for the status quo. You have a duty as a member of this republic to get out and vote. So if you want to start holding people accountable, do it at the ballot box. Stand in your public square. Go to your school board. Go to your quorum court. I'm the one that did that in my county, and we got drag queens off of Main Street.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now we have a closing remarks, and Senator Hammer goes first.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I hope that maybe through the dialogue that you have heard, and if you will, go check my record. You can get the booklet out there. You can go up and look at all the things that I voted for. And I think that you'll find that what I said at the beginning is what I'm going to say at the end. When it comes to my Christian values, when it comes to the conservative values that make us a great nation, I think you're going to find that my voting record stands for itself. And here's the one thing I want you to remember, and the one thing I'd like you to ask to consider. You can say what you're going to do, but the question is, what have you done? And if you have a track record of having done something, then why not give the opportunity to continue to do those things that have kept me in office for 16 years in one of the most conservative counties in the state of Arkansas. And so I'd like that opportunity just to continue to carry that forward in the Secretary of State's office to protect the elections, to make it a better environment for businesses, and to take care of our state capital and make it a beautiful, beautiful capital and a safe one to come to. And I'd appreciate your vote for Secretary of State.
Thank you.
Again, great job. Thank you so much for tonight. And to my people again from Arkansas, I love you very much. Texas, I love you too. I just messed with you earlier. But I am not a politician. I do not aspire to be a politician. I aspire to be a steward of a seat for a brief moment in time that is owned by you and to be held accountable by you and to call me out when I'm doing something wrong. And I got two things to do. All this stuff that I promised, either I can do it or I owe you an explanation. Now, the information may change and I might make a different decision after I'm in there, but I owe you the explanation and I'm going to bring it home to you. You know, if everyone in my life coming up said that I can't do something that you can't do it can't be done. Bull crap. I was born to a single mom in Delta that could have went across the river and had an abortion, but I made it and achieved the rank of First Sergeant in the United States Army. I had dyslexia and I have a master's degree in transformational leadership now. Don't tell me something can't be done. I'm not going to accept it. I will find a way and figure it out, and I'm going to find a way to create success in our state so that my kids don't have to go live in Texas where the opportunities are now.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Great to meet you. Okay, next we have the candidates for Arkansas Miller County Judge. We have Danny Lewis and Chris Redfern. And Mr. Redfern is going to give the opening remarks.
Check. Hey, good evening. I want to take just a moment to say thank you for braving this weather to everyone that came out to be in attendance. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to thank our moderator, and I want to thank Church on the Rock and your staff for putting this event together. We need more events like this. I wish there was more events like this in the region where you can come out and get to know the candidates running for local office. Okay. As the moderator said, my name is Chris Redfern, and I'm running for Miller County Judge. And what do I bring to the table? Well, it's quite simple. I spent 24 and a half years in the United States military. I've been deployed to combat 3 times. I've had the privilege of leading America's sons and daughters in combat and the honor of bringing them all home. And that I will forever be grateful for. As we answer the questions tonight, you'll see that, and I want to say thank you to Danny. Danny Lewis and myself, we're the only candidates running for Miller County Judge that have shown up for every opportunity to be with the people and to answer the hard questions and
Thank
to be with
you.
you guys.
Thank
And
you.
my time's up.
Mr. Lewis.
My name's Danny Lewis, and again, thank you so much. This is a great forum to be here. It gives us an opportunity to come out, tell you what we think, what we want to do in the office. Again, thank you to Chris. Those others, it's going to be hard to vote for some of those guys because I haven't seen them. So that's going to be kind of unique. But my name's Danny Lewis. Again, I served as a county treasurer for 2 terms. I handled $27 million of Miller County's money. It wasn't just Miller County's money that I handled. It was $50 million because the money that flows through Miller County also goes to the city of Texarkana, Arkansas, city of Fouke, city of Garland, and the city of Doddridge. So you don't handle just Miller County's money, you handle it all. I've got some questions that I want to ask. When I was there, I was handling $50 million, and I looked the other day, and there's $74 million passing through Miller County now. You wouldn't have guessed that. Where's that other $24 million going? I want to know. So I would love to the opportunity to be your county judge.
Thank you. And Mr. Redfern has the first question. So here we go. It's got 3 parts to it. So listen up.
Okay.
Does Miller County have a long-range plan for road maintenance? If so, how recent were the roads rated? And what would you do to improve it?
Okay. So I don't want to throw rocks at our current county judge, but I will tell you right now, Miller County it's what that I can find. They have no plan for road maintenance long term. They have no plan for improvements. And if I'm wrong, please come on my social media page at Miller County or Chris Redfern from Miller County Judge on Facebook and correct me. But I've looked everywhere I can look to find any type of accountability for not only just a road maintenance plan or an improvement plan, but also the equipment or any end items that belong to the county. It's not out there to any point that publicly I can find it, and I've looked. Now, how am I going to tackle that? Okay, so my plan is a 4, 5, 6, and 10-year plan, and I know that sounds like a few odd numbers, but with 24 and a half years in the military, a plan is ever changing. So everything's based off of 5 years. So my first plan is we have to fix the drainage. That's going to be priority for year 1. Year 1 and 2, we're fixing the drainage and we're fixing the potholes, getting the roads safe enough just to drive on. And I'm about to be out of time, so I want to respect your time. I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
So the questions were, there are no long-range plans that I'm aware of. There were when I was there. We established a few of those long-range plans for, I went in and redid the emergency management plan on there to prepare us in case something happened to the courthouse and we had to move. And I'm talking about you do checks, you do all of those things. So I established that long-range plan for us. There's not one right now in place. Chris is right. We need to set one up, primary, secondary roads. And then I want to go back to each district. And my main reason for doing that is because if we do primary and secondary roads and the ones that are traveled the most, they're not always in every district. A lot of those are going to be in the city or toward the city. So I want to go to each district, work with our JPs to determine what the most important needs are in those districts so I can get to each district because those citizens pay taxes as well and they need some attention down there in those areas. So I'll focus on that. I'll create us a road hotline. I want you to be able to snap a picture if there's an issue. There's 900 plus miles of roads in Miller County. There's 25 people in the county road department. We cannot police those like we need to, so there'll be a Miller County road hotline. Take a picture, text it, and get your kids to teach you how to drop a pin so we can locate that and find the problem.
Thank you very much. Okay.
So what I have is not so much of a rebuttal because I agree with Danny. I agree. I'm quartering off the county. I'm putting together a calendar where you know that when the road department's going to be on your road, going to be in your area, and I'm going to plagiarize his hotline. But the difference between us and the other candidates, I'm going to tell him I'm going to plagiarize it. We're just not out there taking stuff off your social media page and using it as your own speech. But the one thing I am going to do, right now we're paying $127 a ton for asphalt and way too much to have it delivered. So year 3 and 4, I'm going to work to establish our own asphalt plant. And we're going to, with the raw data right now and the contractors I've talked to, we can actually get it on the ground for $85 a ton, and I'm out of time.
Thank you.
I don't have a rebuttal to Chris because I appreciate him stealing it and then acknowledging it. So, what I do want to acknowledge is we do need long-range plans, not just for the road department. We have a county jail. We also, our juvenile detention center was done away with. I think we need to look back at that. Right now, we are transporting our kids to Pine Bluff, and we are spending $30,000 a month, irregardless of whether we use the beds or not. That's not even including transportation and everything else. So what I'd like to do, I'd like to add a juvenile detention center, long-range plans down by the sheriff's office, and then work toward putting a court annex out by those 2 locations. So that would be my long-range plans for that.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Lewis, you will answer this question first. How do you determine the proper unencumbered cash reserve balance to make sure you aren't overtaxing the people?
Well, that's a good question. I guess at the end of the year, and I'll tell you how in county government, you have an anticipation that you figure up. Anticipation for Miller County for next year is about $27 million. It's actually $30 million anticipated. You can only appropriate 90% of that anticipated. So that gives us about $27 million to appropriate. So at the end of the year, what you need to do, and what I did as the treasurer, is look at what we have left. If you've got a ton more left, we've got about $3.1 million right now in a county general investment account. And I'd like to get that up. I'm not the treasurer. Obviously, I'm the county judge, but I would encourage us to get it to around $5 million. And then don't put another dime in it. Need to invest it, make some off of that, off your interest. But at that point, you've got enough in there to get you through anything, pretty much. So I would encourage us at that point to start spending it in other places. So if you determine you've got too much money, then obviously you need to stop taking so much from the citizen.
Thank you.
So it's funny with me and Danny, and I'm trying. I'm not going to speak for him. I don't want to do that. But when you show up and you have answers and you talked and you put together a plan and you're looking forward in the future and you're devising a plan for this county you love, and a lot of your things are the same. So he said $5 million. My goal is $5.5 million in a reserve fund, and the reason is you can pay the general bills for 8 months. That's the whole reason for that amount. But we agree on. Once you get to that amount, there's no need to keep stuffing money away and overtaxing the people. I think once you get to that amount, whatever reserve fund or whatever surplus you end up with every year now gets divided up across different projects and programs. And one of them I want to do is the little guy contract to dump money right back into the county for businesses inside the county that have 10 employees or less. So, and separating out like $50,000 contracts or $25,000 or $50,000, dropping them down to $5,000 small contracts for just inside the county to be true Miller County, Arkansas first.
Okay. Extended remarks, 45 seconds each.
I like to talk, so what can we talk about? Back to, again, when I was in the treasurer's office, we actually did collect a whole lot of money, and my goal was, had I remained in the treasurer's office, I actually ran for county judge and won the primary and lost the runoff to the former judge. But at that point, you need to determine, okay, now it's time for us to start reducing our taxes. That way we're not putting the burden on it. And if you know anything about Texarkana and the Arkansas side versus the Texas side, we need to do something different on the Arkansas side. I don't know if we need to change our structure. I want to sit down with the Texarkana, Texas city manager, Bowie County. I want to figure out what we're not doing right that we need to change to attract more business to the Arkansas side.
Okay, Mr. Redfern.
Okay. So when we start talking about money and people's money, money is the easiest resource to ruin. And the reason I say it like that is when you start dealing with other people's money, everybody gets involved. So my first act as Miller County Judge, should be I be blessed and fortunate enough to get the office, is the first thing we're doing is we're auditing everything and this is what we're auditing it for: efficiency, original intent, and impact on the citizens. If there's a program out there that we're still funding that has lost all that, we're going to tie all funding to programs.
Thank you. Okay, last question. Mr. Redfern, you go first on this one. Take us through the first 3 steps to properly evaluate the efficiency of any county department or agency.
So the first 3 steps that I'm going to use, and we'll take the road department. Let's take the road department because that's on everybody's mind, because everybody in Arkansas, Miller County needs a front end alignment. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Department of Defense MEVA program. It's Mission Essential Vulnerability Assessment Program. And what you do is you evaluate all things, and we'll talk about roads, for the impact of people, fire, wind, rain, or water, and then the last thing you evaluate it for is a combination effect, right? So meaning water turning to ice, stuff like that. So the road, I don't care about fire. So once you start evaluating it, then you come up with a plan and a system to combat each one of those things. So people are going to be on the roads. It is what it is, right? So you're going to, Miller County 10 is one of the most highly trafficked roads in Arkansas, or in Miller County. So you're going to push that one up on the priority level, and I say that, and people will crucify me for it, I'm sure. But you have other roads that have no one on them, and they're just roads out there, so they get pushed back. So in evaluating them, you're evaluating them for functional use and how they impact each person in the county.
Okay, thank you.
So each year there's a state auditor, and every year every office in Miller County, actually in any of the 75 counties in the state of Arkansas, actually in any of the 3,000 counties in the United States of America, there's an auditor. They are audited to determine that that money has been spent correctly. You have a line item. You cannot spend money out of a line item for Walmart. You cannot spend money out of a line item for just anything. So they watch, and each one of these offices are audited. And so that's already been done. As the treasurer, I obviously had to go into all of the offices, whether it be volunteer fire departments, trash service, you name it, and I looked at it, and we made sure every dime was spent like it was supposed to be spent. So I've already done that. One of the other things that I want to do, obviously, is I want to go into the road department, and I want to see. We've got an anticipated revenue in that road department of about $5,084,000. I want to see where it was all spent. I need to see that so I can determine where it needs to be used best if I get elected.
Thank you.
All right. So I agree with Danny. I mean, here's the thing. Good people are running, and good people show up. So in the Army, after 24 years, I made it to First Sergeant, senior leadership. So I've been audited and inspected and all that. Everything you have to be accountable for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the accountability that I've learned throughout 24 years of military service with everything that entails, and I'm going to apply it to the county, and then I'm going to publish it to the people. Because right now, I can't find accountability anywhere. I'm not saying they're not accountable. I'm just saying it's not public. So that, to me, that means no one's being held accountable.
Thank you.
I always tell everybody I was the most transparent treasurer that Miller County's ever had. And I was. When I ran on transparency and I ran on asking questions, but I also ran on showing the citizens how their money was spent. I never, ever required anybody to FOI me, Freedom of Information Act. And you know why? It's your money. I'm going to show you exactly how it's going to be spent. I'm not trying to hide anything. There's nothing in this office that I'm trying to hide. You want to see how it's spent, I'll show you. So I never required those. You want it? Ask for it. I'll show it. And that same thing will apply if I'm elected as a county judge. You want to see something? You want to see how your money's being spent? Request it. I'll email it to you.
Thank you. Okay, now it's time for closing remarks, and Mr. Lewis, you begin.
Again, thank you so much. These things are great. You need to get out here. The other four, there's 4 other Republicans running in this primary. I don't know how anybody in the world's going to sneak through there, to be completely honest with you, with about 8,000 people voting. If you have a candidate that you support, you need to get out, get your family, get your friends. They used to say it years ago, vote early and vote often. So you need to vote early and vote often for, you've heard it, it's a Democrat. I'm just kidding. But vote early and vote often. Get your family, go out, support your candidate. Give them some money. If you see them, or give them $20, help them out. These things are difficult to run. I've got signs to get, so trust me, holy mackerel. But I would appreciate your vote. I served as your treasurer. I think I did an excellent job. I found money that shouldn't have been spent like it was, and I got the person that spent that money wrongly in trouble. So we'll just call that. I would appreciate your vote running for county judge. Thank you.
Thank you.
So again, thank you for tonight. Thank you everyone that braved the weather and come out and be safe this weekend. Don't skip church even if you have to go online to do so, to not skip church. So with the questions, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for your candor. Thank you for your attentiveness to everyone in the audience. I want to leave you with this. My slogan is "Let's work together," and I got that from prayer, and it comes from this: 1 can put 1,000 a flight, 2 can put 10,000 a flight. I spent 24 years building teams, and I've led large organizations. I've managed multi-million-dollar budgets and hundreds of millions of dollars in equipment, and all those qualifications are out there. It's all on my social media page. But at the end of the day, let's work together. I think you can see that Danny and I, we're not mad at each other. I wish him the best. I ain't going to say it because it's always my joke. I'm not going to say that one.
Thank you so much.
But thank you again. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Now it's time for the Bowie County candidates to line up, and you're going to be making your 1-minute comments. We've got the Bowie County Commissioners Court Place 2, Bowie County Commissioner Court Place 3, Bowie County Precinct Chair 1A, Bowie County Precinct Chair 3A, and Bowie County Precinct Chair 11A. Okay, I think it's time for the Bowie County Commissioners Court Place 2, the candidates to file up on stage. All of you, so we can do you one right after the other. And you know the order that you drew within each race, so take it away, gentlemen, and be sure you look at the clock.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Brower. They call me Jimbo. I'm running for Commissioner Precinct 2, Bowie County. I thought I was loud enough anyway. Anyway, I've got over 55 years experience in construction, roads, any kind of street or road you can imagine, I've designed and built. I'm a civil engineer, graduate of University of Texas, 1963. I'm a veteran, Marine veteran of 69. I've traveled all over the world, virtually building roads, streets, maintenance, and I'd love to have you vote for me. And thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Your passion, your wanting to be here and see the issues is great. Thank Church on the Rock for putting this on. I am Tom Whitten. I am your Precinct 2 Bowie County Commissioner. I've been in office for 14 years. I'm in my 4th term. And in 14 years, Bowie County's come a long way. We went from borrowing money, selling motor graders, to paying the bills. We had to borrow $5 million to end up my 2nd year there. And we are currently sitting on that $5 million fund balance that Arkansas is looking for. That's what we've done in 14 years. I just want to tell you, it's been outside of my relationship with Jesus Christ, my family. It's been a pleasure, and it's been a calling of my life to do what I'm doing, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
I am Mike Carter, Bowie County Commissioner, Precinct 4. In 2014, when I first got elected, Bowie County was broke. My very first meeting, I had to vote to borrow $5 million because the county didn't have the money to pay their bills. Since then, by working together and making wise financial decisions, Bowie County is financially solvent. Over the years, I've always sought out materials to subsidize my road material budget. I'm currently working with Graphic Packaging to receive their fly ash to stabilize and strengthen my gravel and dirt roads. It makes the road surface setup similar to concrete. It's been approved by Commissioner's Court, and I'm currently waiting on TCEQ permits to get started. It's been an honor to serve Bowie County, and I ask for your continued support. And I finished early.
Thank you.
My phone was going dead anyway.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brittany Harper. I'm running for 1A, and I do want to make sure I say this, that I just realized that I had to come up here when I got here. But it's okay. So I spent the day going to go get my license renewed. But however, that is on a side note. I am running because, no offense to anyone here, I have not lived as many levels as other people. So it's time for people in my generation, age. I said that, no offense to anyone, I promise you. I'm the youngest, coolest senior citizen that you'll ever see. But, however, it is time for, the youth to come and try to take over and learn from the seniors that were here before us. So that is the purpose, and I'm Brittany Harper.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Dr. David Bradford. I'm running for a Precinct 3A chair. 3A is important because we do have that A after our number. That means we're amiable, we're authentic, we're articulate. A precinct chair is a very important position. November of this year will prove it out. If we do not get the people out to vote, we don't register them to vote, we're going to be in trouble as a Texas Republic, and we're going to be in trouble as a Republic of America. We have got to work with, explain candidate platforms. We've got to support our elected officials. Witten is in, I'm in his precinct for the commissioner. I don't mind going right to him and getting right in his face so that we can fix the roads in our precinct, fix things that have to be done. We also have to seek out, and I need to seek out and speak out on critical issues important to voters. And voting is the most important right. Take it from somebody who was a missionary kid, grew up overseas. I had to defend the United States and Texas every day of my life until I returned to America. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Patty Terrell, and I'm a lifelong conservative. I've been an active volunteer for the Bowie County Republican Party since retiring from Red River Army Depot in 2013. I've worn many hats, but my involvement began as an election judge, and for the past 7 years, I've served as your precinct chair for 11A, or 11 before redistricting. I've represented you at the county convention and at the state convention. I've knocked on your doors and I've listened to your concerns. I've volunteered at events, and I've served as the director of communication for the party, and I handled all the social media. I learned a long time ago that anything worth doing is worth doing right, so when I volunteer, I do it with my whole heart. I would be honored to have your vote again to continue to serve the people of 11A for another 2 years. You can trust that you will be represented well, and I thank you all for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Zach Ratliff. I also am running for Precinct 11A. You know, the Republican Party, as of late, is going through a change. We're going through a time when too many Republicans just show up and only vote for us when we don't need them. They're afraid to take a bold stand. They're afraid to push back on the politicians that don't do what they're supposed to do. They look at it as a cruise ship, a get well, a go have a good time popularity contest to be in office. We're on a battleship. We're fighting for our values. We're fighting for our Christian values. We need to expect the people that we represent to expect us and that represent us to have a clue about how we actually feel. I'm not doing it just to go shake somebody's hand and be at the social functions. I care about where this country goes. I care about where this county goes. I care about where my precinct goes, and I want to say in it before it goes south. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it's time for the Texas State Representative for House District 1. Those candidates. Oh, we've got some more. You weren't on my sheet. Okay. Oh, you're changing it out. Okay. I got you. Okay. So I think the candidates can go ahead and come to the tables. So we've got House District 1 candidates, Chris Spencer and Josh Bray. Then we've got Bowie County District Attorney candidates, Kelly Crisp and Jerry Rochelle. And then Bowie County Republican Party Chair candidates, Dale Hulls and Gary Singleton. Okay. So, State Representative for House District 1, which is an open seat. The opening remarks will lead off with Mr. Bray.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Josh Bray. My wife Beth and I live in Paris, Texas, where we're raising our two daughters, Aniston and Anley. I'm a graduate of the University of Alabama, where I got my undergraduate in finance and my master's in marketing. After that, I went to the TCU Ranch Management Program, where I got a certificate in ranch management. Upon completing my education, I came home and started a solid waste company with 0 employees and built that company to 150 employees in 14 years, serving 65 cities throughout Northeast Texas. All through that time, I had the opportunity to serve on a variety of boards. I serve on the Guarantee Bank Board here in Northeast Texas, serve on the Paris Junior College Board, and I serve as chairman of the Paris Economic Development Board and the Paris Regional Health Board in Paris. So service and giving back is not new to me. When it comes to the issues, clearly the number one thing that everybody in Texas is talking about is property tax relief. We need to give relief, but we also need to make sure that we provide services to our cities and our schools and our counties. I think you can find with my resume and my experience that I would be a great state rep, and I look forward to having your vote in the primary.
Thank you.
I'm Chris Spencer from Hugh Springs in Cass County, married to my wife, Debbie. We have 2 boys, Christopher and Eric, our daughter-in-law, Kim. And number 1 on the list is our grandson, Camden. I am Big Daddy to Camden, and my wife is Nana. And grandbaby business is the best business to be in. I own and operate Crump's Food Center in Linden, Texas. We're part of a dying breed out there of independent mom-and-pop supermarkets. But I will say that with this weather coming on, the grocery business is the business to be in, okay? Governor Abbott appointed me in February 2018 as chairman of the Sulphur River Basin Authority, and I served in that capacity for 5 years. One of the pianos that was hanging over our head, and still is over Northeast Texas, is the potential development of the Marvin Nichols Reservoir. I adamantly oppose that. I have a plan to strike that from the state water plan and
Thank you.
to solve the water needs of Texas. And I look forward to answering more questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the first question goes to Mr. Spencer. And I have to say, this is a very difficult job for me because I've interviewed 89 candidates since October 1st for the Texas primary ballot. And so for me to limit myself to 2 questions, particularly when we're talking about the Texas House, is very difficult, but let's roll. Mr. Spencer, do you believe Sharia is a problem for Texas? Why or why not?
Sharia is a problem for Texas, and let me clarify. There's a lot of folks that believe that Islam is a religion. Islam is a political system, and it is given cover as a religion by the Constitution. And so what's happening is we have, how would I call it, civilized jihad, if you will, that is infiltrating our system, our state, our schools. And so I do believe it is a big problem in Texas. And I do believe that it's something that the governor is very focused on. I know I am. And a lot of folks believe that Sharia law is not really an issue and that it's overblown. It's precisely the opposite of that. It is an issue, and we are fighting for our Christian values, and we're fighting for our state. So I believe that Sharia law is a problem. And fundamentally, and remember, watch this part, fundamentally, Islam is a political system and not a religion.
Thank you. Mr. Bray.
Look, we're fortunate to live in the greatest country in all the world, and we're fortunate to live in the greatest state in all of America. And there can never be a set of laws that supersede the American law or the Texas law. Islam and Sharia law is clearly a concern and an issue in this state. We cannot have them come in and dominate our communities. We can't let them establish their own communities that are in conflict directly with our law. And if elected, I would do everything in my power to make sure that there is no Sharia law ever. It will be banned from this state, and the communities that try to exist in that form of government will be banned.
Thank you.
And let us always remember that no matter about separation of church and state, the United States of America was founded on Christian values. And we are a Christian nation. And any radicalized system that impedes that should be obliterated in Texas. And I think Islam has no place in our culture, and it has no place in our state government.
Well, it's easy to talk second, echo the same thing. I mean, obviously, as a Christian country, we're going to defend our Christian values and rules. And so we can't let another country or another religion conflict with our state or federal laws. And like I said earlier, at the end of the day, we're a Christian country. And as Christian leaders, we've got to make sure that we're doing everything we can to defend that. Thank you.
Okay, second question, Mr. Bray, you go first. As it relates to border security and enforcement, Do you believe Texas is ready for a post-Trump America? Why or why not?
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. As it relates to border security and enforcement, is Texas ready for a post-Trump America? Why or why not?
Well, that's an interesting question. Obviously, under the previous administration, we had absolutely open borders. And I've got to applaud Governor Abbott. He stepped in when we did not have leadership in Washington that would step in and close the border for us. And so the beautiful thing about that was we've now got a president who stepped in with the big, beautiful bill and has actually given us that money back that Governor Abbott spent. And so props to Governor Abbott for doing the right thing when the previous administration at the federal level wouldn't, and props to President Trump for doing the right thing and making sure that our borders are protected. The question is, as a country, who are we going to elect next? And if we elect the right person next, I think that our country's in a great position to continue to protect our borders as we always have. If we make the wrong decisions and we elect the wrong people, then we'll find ourselves in Texas doing the same thing that we did under the previous administration.
The danger spot here is to be lulled into complacency, if you will. And what I mean by that was we all know that President Biden abdicated his responsibility on the southern border, and that Governor Abbott, our great governor, took action and did some things that you might consider unorthodox, but he sent illegal immigrants to blue cities, and it got everyone's attention. And then, right on, and the American people wisely elected President Trump, and we don't hear about the border crisis as much as we did. If you remember, every day on the news it was about the border crisis. We don't have that anymore at the moment. That can lull us into complacency. We've got to continue to secure that southern border. What part of the wall is not finished needs to be finished. I look forward to helping Governor Abbott and President Trump in the Texas legislature achieve just that. But yes, to continue President Trump's policies, which are the correct policies, we need to have the right America First president elected in 2028.
Okay, this is your 45-second rebuttal period here.
Thank you. Like I said earlier, we've clearly seen the expenses of having liberal administration in Washington. I don't think you're going to see that again. I think our country recognizes what conservative Republican leadership looks like, and I think we're in a good place at the border because we've had conservative Republican leadership, and I think you'll continue to see the support from Governor Abbott at the border, and you'll continue to see the support from President Trump. And as long as those things are in place, we're in a good place. Should we see an administration change at the national level, we've got to make sure as a state we're ready to step in and do exactly what we did last time when Governor Abbott spent the money at the border to make sure that Texas was protected. And as I go down to Austin, I'll continue to make sure that happens.
The unfinished business is to continue the deportation of those that are here illegally.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Now we've got closing remarks. And Mr. Spencer, you go first.
That was very quick. I'll tell you that. That was fast. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I got to have lunch with Pastor Miller a few weeks ago, and he told me that if I'm blessed enough to be elected state representative, not only do we as citizens when we go to the voting booth vote biblical values, but as a legislator, I need to vote biblical values. And I will do that. And I ask for your prayers and your friendship and your support, and I want to honor and glorify the Lord in what I say and what I do. On the voter guide that was handed out, my questions, my answers were a little bit more abbreviated, so I have a more extensive policy sheet at the back. Besides eliminating Marvin Nichols, I believe that Texans are overtaxed, and I want to see property taxes eliminated. But first, they're going to have to be reformed. We all recognize that. Remember this. Watch this. Property taxes are the one tax
Thank you.
that you and I have no control over. Thank you, and vote for Chris Spencer.
You know, this past week I had an interesting call from a gentleman. He said, Josh, why should I vote for you? And I said, the number one reason you ought to vote for me is because I'm a Christian and I'm going to go vote Christian values. The number two is I'm a businessman. You've seen me build and grow businesses and run them, and I'll run the state budget and the state government just like a business ought to be run. And the third one is I'm a servant. All my life. This isn't new to me. This isn't a promise. This is something that you can see by the fruits of what I've done all my life. I've served on bank boards. I've served on hospital boards. I've served on junior college boards. I've served on economic development boards. The issues that matter to Texans in Northeast Texas, quality health care, quality jobs, quality of life. When you think about a voice and who's going to go represent you in Austin, it doesn't need to be somebody representing West Texas billionaires that are getting funded outside the district. It needs to be somebody that's funded from within the district that'll go vote for you. Our votes in East Texas aren't for sale. So he asked me in closing, what can I do for you? I said, there's two things you can do for me. You can pray for me, and on March 3rd, you can go check the box for me, Josh Bray for the Texas House.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, our next race is the Bowie County District Attorney's race. We have Kelly Crisp and we have Jerry Rochelle. Opening comments will be made by Ms. Crisp.
You are tough to follow, Chris and Josh. My name is Kelly Crisp, and I'm running for the Bowie County District Attorney's seat. Coming up, thank you. Thank you, Aaron. Briefly, I just want to describe a little bit about why I'm running. My husband's here of 18 years. His name is John. And we have a little boy. His name's John Edward, after my husband and my father. I have started back in 2010. Then DA Bobby Lockhart hired me, and James Elliott, the great prosecutor, trained me. Over the last however many years, 15, I've tried mostly crimes against children. The Texarkana Children's Advocacy Center did award me the Texas Hero of Hope for that award this year. I'm proud of that. And then my work with law enforcement, many of them are here today. I'll talk to you a little bit. Thank you.
Mr. Rochelle.
Hello and welcome to this event. Thank Church on the Rock, John Miller, Richie Grant for putting it on. I'm not going to waste a lot of time thanking people because we've only got a minute. Anytime you give an attorney, especially a prosecuting attorney, a minute for openings or closings, that's like putting a boxer in the ring in handcuffs. I'd love to thank my family who is here tonight. I started practicing in 1990. I graduated from the University of Arkansas School of Law. Fortunately, was able to go into prosecution. I had never seen myself as a prosecutor up until that point. I went to work for the then DA, John Miller. I worked under the next DA and the next DA, and then went into private practice for 15 years, but for whatever reason, prosecution always drew me back. I always had the passion and the drive to represent the citizens of Bowie County.
Thank you. Thank you. First question, Ms. Crisp will answer the first question. Define selective prosecution and define your position regarding the practice.
Well, if you're going to ask me about selective prosecution, that would mean to me what cases do I think need to be tried. If you're going to line them up in an order of importance, I'm going to start with crimes against children, assaultive crimes against persons. I've tried a lot of homicides. Let's start with crimes against children. One of the reasons that I decided to run is because we right now have about 100 pending cases that involve sexual abuse against children in Bowie County. If you are trying as many complex felony cases as you can, you might, in the 202nd District Court, get 15 a year. If you ignored every homicide and every robbery and every theft, and you just tried crimes against children, you think about how many years it would take us to get through the backlog that we have right now. Those cases are extraordinarily difficult to prosecute. They're trying. The moving parts that are involved in that. I mean, I've seen things that there is no coming back from. But the fact of the matter is, there's not enough people like me doing that at our office, and we just need more people in the fight. I have trials scheduled throughout 2026, primarily involving crimes of sexual abuse against children.
Thank you. Mr. Rochelle.
I couldn't agree more with Ms. Crisp. Prosecuting crimes against children is the number one priority. However, selective prosecution to me means selecting those cases which will best send a message to our community. The problem isn't within the DA's office. I will give Kelly credit. She has done tremendous work on behalf of Bowie County, on behalf of victims of Bowie County. I don't think we're here to try to take away from each other. Our problem sits in Austin. Our problem sits with the legislature. We have to get them to authorize more courtrooms, more court space, more court staff. We're in court every day. We're in court every week. I pulled up the numbers. I myself have handled over 2,300 cases just this last year. I mean, we're all working to the best of our ability, but with our limited resources and our limited courtrooms, we could try cases more effectively if we had Austin's support and expand our court system.
Thank you. Now you have the 45-second rebuttal period.
I mean, I think we could wait forever for money to come from Austin, but the reality is that the district attorney's office has to formulate whatever we need to do. We have to prioritize what we need to do with the resources that we have right now. And what we have right now is a growing number of cases and backlogs. I have more capital murders pending right now that I'm the first chair prosecutor on than I ever have before in my career, and that is not counted in that 100 cases of crimes against children that I'm talking about. So if you talk about crimes against children, and if you talk about the homicides, if you keep up with the news at all, we're talking about a massive amount of violent crime. So I think the whole model of the district attorney's office needs to change, and I think that the elected DA needs to try serious felony cases.
Thank you. Mr. Rochelle.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Once again, we have both worked within this system that we call our careers for now in excess of 15 years. I've been practicing for 35 years, 21 of which was in public service. We all work. We all sacrifice. I have sacrificed. I know Ms. Crisp has sacrificed. There have been a number of years, a number of decades that I didn't get to go on family vacations. I didn't get to go to hunting camp. But those are the responsibilities and duties that we brought on ourselves when we became professional prosecutors, and I accept that responsibility wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Okay, next, excuse me. The next question is regarding victim advocacy, and we will begin with Mr. Rochelle. How do you balance the wishes of a victim's family with the need for public justice, particularly in cases involving the death penalty or complex plea deals?
Well, first of all, when I first became district attorney, there were no victims advocates that were actually in the district attorney's office. We formulated and implemented a victims assistance coordinator that could keep those individuals apprised of exactly what was taking place on their cases when their cases were set. We always put, and I would certainly hope Kelly would agree with this, our office always emphasizes keeping the victims informed and keeping the victims in the process. That being said, we don't need their permission, but we do need to keep them in the case, in the process, involved and informed. We have always, I have always, okay, I say we a lot because I don't like to take personal credit for the office's work, but we have always strived and to keep the victims informed, and I have recently added a second coordinator to try and make that a reality.
Thank you. Ms. Crisp.
So if you are kind of keeping up with the election at all, you understand that part of my platform is that I want to work closer with law enforcement. If you are in law enforcement, if you're here tonight or you have somebody that's here supporting you, can you raise your hand for the people in the crowd? Yeah. So part of that to me is been very successful for myself in law enforcement is if you start with right honestly when the offense starts. So she specifically mentioned death penalty. I've tried 2 for Bowie County in 2015. I tried the state of Texas versus Billy Joel Tracy. Billy Joel Tracy was given the death penalty by a Bowie County jury for the capital murder of Timothy Davison, a correctional officer at the Barry Tilford unit. And then if you all recall, a couple years ago, I tried the state of Texas versus Taylor Renee Parker. A Bowie County jury gave Taylor Parker the death penalty for killing Reagan Hancock and her baby Braxton Hancock. Well, those cases where you're talking about victims' assistance, those are cases that I work very closely with law enforcement on. I was there the night of both of those offenses, and if the victims' assistance also involves the prosecutor staying with those victims from start to finish.
Thank you. Now we have the 45-second rebuttal period. Mr. Rochelle.
And I'll give credit where credit is due. Kelly's done a fabulous job on behalf of those cases because I approached Kelly when those cases came into the office, and we had a conversation about, Kelly, I'm not going to be DA forever. These cases are going to wind through, and we're very aware, wind through the judicial system, the appellate system, the writ process for the next 20, 30 years. I won't be here 20 or 30 years from now, but Kelly will be. And I wanted the individual that tried the case to have the responsibility to walk that case through trial into the appellate level. I will say that I followed that case closely, and we are now currently at the federal level on the writ process, and I think that conviction is entirely safe.
Thank you. Ms. Crisp. Ms. Crisp.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, the rebuttal. Do you?
No, he's right. The state of Texas versus Taylor Parker, the appellate process at the state level was complete. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to call Miss Jessica Brooks, that's Reagan's mom, if y'all have kept up with that case, and I was able to tell her herself that was affirmed on appeal. If you're talking about victims' assistance, though, back to we've discussed the death penalty, I want to go back to those crimes against children. There are no more vulnerable among us. There are no more, if you're in public service, what else are you doing this job for if it's not to help children that have been abused? So we do have victims' assistance, but that'll only carry you so far. At the end of the day, it's up to the prosecutor and that team to make sure that offender's held accountable.
Thank you. Okay, now we have closing remarks, and Mr. Rochelle, you go first.
I'd like to once again thank everybody. I'd like to thank Kelly for her service within the Bowie County District Attorney's Office. Being the DA is not exactly like being a prosecutor, and a lot of people don't understand that. Being the district attorney has a lot of different moving parts other than just going to court, other than just trying cases, other than just representing one district court or one case at a time. The analogy I like to draw is, do y'all go to football games? Do y'all go to baseball games to watch the coaches at the dugout or on the sideline? No. The coaches put the people in the positions that have the talent, they have the tools, and they make sure that they're able to perform that job that they're hired to do and get those tasks completed. And that's what I have presented to the people of Bowie County, and that's how I've ran the Bowie County District Attorney's Office effectively and efficiently.
Thank you. Ms. Crisp?
Yes, ma'am. I want to take a final few minutes to talk about my friends in law enforcement, the men and women that are here for me tonight. Again, if you know anything about this, part of the sort of campaign slogan that I have is backed by the blue. The #1 chief law enforcement officer in this county is the district attorney. In Bowie County, Texas, the elected DA is the chief law enforcement officer of the county. Chief Phelps is in here in the back, and before I came up, there are 198 law enforcement officers in Bowie County, and 196 of them are supporting me to be their chief. The cases that come from those law enforcement agencies are prosecuted by the district attorney's office. They are fed to the DA's office. And I do understand what Mr. Rochelle's saying, and that model worked for a while, but we sadly have too many cases now to where the chief law enforcement officer is going to have to step in and try cases now.
Thank you. Thank you. Our final group of candidates are running for Bowie County Republican Party Chair. We have Mr. Dale Hulse with us and Gary Singleton. And Mr. Hulse will begin with opening remarks.
Thank you very much. This is my first go at political speed dating. So thank y'all for the opportunity. I look out here at this crowd and I'm like, this is what we need. We need more community engagement. And that's why I'm running for Bowie County Republican Party Chair. We need to get the people involved. They need to follow the issues. They need to be engaged in their government. You know, it is an action. Now, my name is Dale Hulse, and I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran. I worked nuclear weapons. I've been a military contractor in Saudi Arabia for 5 years. I understand what it's like to live under Sharia law. I also have been county chair, election judge, and I retired from NASA. So I guess that's my introduction for me. Come out to the table if you want to know more about me and more about what I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Singleton.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Singleton. I'm your Bowie County Republican Party Chairman. I've had the privilege to hold this position for several years now. I've started as a volunteer when I was in my 20s, went to the local headquarters, thought our country was in dire straits back then. I thought I needed to go and do something. So I went down to the headquarters. A gentleman came in, said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I'm here to volunteer." He said, "We've got some people going out right now. Would you like to do that?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I would." I've been a volunteer ever since. I've been dedicated to help bring the Republican Party back to what it should have been years ago. We had opportunities at times to get Republicans elected, and we failed there. So I hope and pray that the party will continue to be strong. That's my dedication to you and the citizens.
Thank you. Okay, now the first question will be answered by Mr. Singleton. If there's anything that upsets the conservative Republican grassroots in Texas, it's the discordant messaging that is out of step with them. Can you cite an example of flawed messaging by the Republican Party of Texas and how you would improve on that messaging in Bowie County and drive results?
What we need to do is get the information out to the voters. The voters need to know what's going on down in Austin with the Republican Party of Texas. The thing that worries me the most is that the Republican Party of Texas is not doing the job that they should do. They are not focusing on the general public, on you, the people, to get the information out. And they're not sending that information down to us. The state party is dysfunctional right now. There's many problems there that need to be solved. But it's not going to be solved until we get new leadership. That's the main problem with our state party. The citizens need, and they have the right to know, what's going on and how to vote, how to pick the right candidates. And that's what I think we need to do here in Bowie County. We need to be open to the public. It's you, we the people, that decide who they can vote for.
Mr. Hulse.
The Republican Party of Texas is not broke. We are speaking up for the first time and telling our politicians what we want them to do. We list our priorities out there every convention. We vote on them, each and every one of them. We expect and we demand from our politicians, the ones who play on our team, to do what they say they do. You know, it is not the county Republican chair responsibility to sit there and wait for the RPT to tell them what's going on. We should know that. That's why I agree with Gary. We need new leadership, but it's not at the state level, it's at the county level. This is one of those things where we got to go out there and you need to see what's going on. The county chair is a conduit from the state and from the federal Republican Party what's going on in our government, and coming back and telling you and saying, hey, this is what's going on. We need to help out here. You need to understand what you're voting for, what your elected officials and leaders are doing. You've got to go ahead and make a decision, but you have to make informed decisions. That's the county party's job. It's not just to get Republicans elected. It's way, way more than that. So I think that we're going to do a good job, and we're going to do a better job. Thank you.
Well, we've done a great job in Bowie County. The Bowie County Republican Party is strong. The Bowie County Republican Party is financially sound. We get information out to the voters through our Facebook page. Our headquarters is always there to help anyone with any questions they have about candidates. We make sure that we have plenty of information to hand out to the voters. We're there to assist, but the state party is broke. If you've been to a state convention recently, you can see the division there. We've got to get back to conservative fundamentals and quit fighting each other. We have to unite, or the Democrats will take party and the state over.
Thank you. Mr. Hulse.
You know, they always say we have to unite when it's on their terms, not on the grassroots terms, not on the average conservative Texan who wants to see change in their state. They're tired of being fed crumbs and told it's a whole pie. That's not the way it is. You know, we need to, I'll leave it up to you. If you think the Republican Party of Bowie County is doing their job, do you think that they're involved? Do you think they're engaged? Do you get information from the party? I ask you, that is what you have to decide for yourself. I intend to go a step further. I want to have, paid ads on social media. I want to have events. I want to get the information to you. I want to push it out there.
Thank you.
So you can't, thank you.
Okay, last question, and Mr. Hulse, you go first. How will you engage local precinct chairs and community members to ensure that Bowie County's voice is heard during the development of the state Republican Party's legislative priorities?
Okay, first of all, when you have your precinct chairs, and some of you are out there, you got to be given responsibilities, something to go do, not just given a committee assignment that never does anything. You've got to go work. I'm going to look and have my committees staffed by the precinct chairs and volunteers who want to come and do the job, give their time, serve like I have. I lost the last election, but you know what? I didn't quit. I went and I started a radio podcast, a radio show, Less Awesome, More Texas. I went and worked with Brent Money, one of the top 10 conservatives in the Texas House, as his legislative director. I spent 5 months in Austin and driving back home to see my wife every weekend to serve Texas. That's the level of commitment I have. That's what I want to do. And I expect everybody, every precinct chair, to do the same. I expect people who raise their hand and say, hey, I want to help. I expect them to come do the job. We're going to have a plan out at my table. Come by and visit me. I've learned it out sheets that give you the highlights of my plans. Go to my website and see the details. You know, we can do better. We can do good. I know we're going to make a change and we're going to make a difference. Thank you.
We have a lot of volunteers in the Bowie County Republican Party. A lot of them are here tonight. We get out amongst the voters. We're not sitting in some room talking amongst ourselves. We go to every event we can go to. We talk to the voters. We register the voters. We are out there